Question 8. Make M the subject of this formula here. So as it stands, we have two M terms that I highlight there. There's a lot going on here. We've got fractions that we need to deal with, get rid of, and then we've got letters on both sides, the M's, sorry, on both sides. So we're going to have to do a bit of rearranging there. And then there's another curveball coming down the road that we have to deal with also. For questions involving change of subject, you can have scenarios where you do more than one thing in order to answer this question. I'm going to show you what I believe to be the most logical way of doing it, but you could have an answer that looks slightly different, but it actually is the same thing. So how do I do it? First thing I would do is get rid of those fractions. I do not want this over V or this over B or this over R in play, so I'm going to multiply everything by VBR. Multiply both sides, everything on both sides as well. We've got to be careful because that minus everything by VBR. So how you can write this is place a VBR beside all of your existing fractions. So this M over V I'm going to put here. This minus I'm going to put in front of the VBR, followed by this bracket here, T over B equals, and then this VBR will be in front of this M minus T over R. So that's effectively me just written down that I am multiplying every one of these blue brackets by VBR. The reason why I do that is it makes it much easier to see what cancels here. The V's cancel there, the B's cancel here, and the R's cancel there, which, just taking our next line, would give me a BRM, or a BMR, technically, if I want to write it in alphabetical order, which isn't essential, you don't have to do that. We have a VRT, we're going to have a RTV in alphabetical order again, and then we will have a VB times both of these terms. Now you could take a line just now. I could write this as BV brackets M minus T first before breaking it out, and that would be totally fine. So if I did it that way and I broke it out, I'm going to have a BMV minus a BTV. So there's a lot of letters in play here. Of course, the one we want to make the subject is M, so we get all the stuff with M's on the same side. So I want the M's on the left just because it's the first one I see here. So I'm going to take away a BMV on both sides in order to make this disappear, and all the M's will now be over here. While I'm at it, I can also add the RTV so that everything that doesn't have an M is going to appear on the left-hand side. So if I plus RTV on both sides, then that will take care of two things in one. You could write this as two separate lines if you want though. So if I do that, my left-hand side is going to be BMR, take away BMV, and my left-hand side is going to be a positive RTV, which I'm going to write first, then I'm going to write minus BTV. But it wouldn't matter if you did write that the other way around. What I'm going to have now is we have this curveball that I mentioned before. These M terms cannot mix because of the fact that the other stuff cannot mix. A BR take away a BV is not a sum that you can actually do. So when you have this scenario, you've got to take your variable out as a common factor. The main goal here is that you need only one M so that you can then get it by itself in the formula. So if I do that, I will have M bracket BR minus BV. On the other side, I will have the following. Nothing's changed. And then our last step, if I divide both sides by that bracket, then I will get M on its own. And so my final answer here will be M equals RTV minus BTV all over BR minus BV. Now you can see in mark schemes where they might write this slightly different, where they factorize stuff. So for example, I could factorize that fraction to have a TV on the top, M as a common factor with an R minus B in the bracket. And I could do the same with the bottom by taking a B out as a highest common factor to give me an R minus V. There is no utility in this for this particular question, but generally speaking, if you have letters in a fraction, having it fully factorized like this at least allows you to see if anything can cancel. So there is nothing that can cancel here, but just to highlight, if you're looking at the mark scheme and you're wondering why that is the presented answer, do not worry. What you have here, or whatever equivalent is the same size as this, gives you the same thing basically, that is fully accepted as your final answer. Done.